It's October again, which means everyone is in spooky mode. Some people watch scary movies or stomp around in an overpriced apple orchard. Me personally, I like to turn off the lights, power on my Wii, and play
Resident Evil 4.
The most ported title in the gaming industry. And if you think GTA 5 and Skyrim have been around for too long, Resident Evil 4 has been kicking since 2004 and doesn't seem to be stopping anytime soon, thanks to the Resident Evil 4 remake announced this past year. Resident Evil 4 mixed up the traditional gameplay Capcom established for their first three titles. Instead of relying on the fixed camera angle, Capcom went with an innovative third-person perspective, placing the camera fixed over the shoulder to create a dynamic shooting environment. This brought the player to a more gritty and action-focused playstyle that inspired so many future titles that we are familiar with today. This decision was divisive among the fanbase, but Capcom did a fantastic job balancing the horror and gunplay elements that many fans love about the series. So today, let's review my favorite Resident Evil title and port, Resident Evil 4 on the Nintendo Wii. But before that, please help me by subscribing and liking this video and my other content. Tell me what you like best about Resident Evil 4 in the comments below. Anyway, on to the video. For those of you who don't know about Resident Evil 4, you play as Leon S. Kennedy. The local cop from Raccoon City is back from Resident Evil 2 or Remake, depending on when you hopped on this series. 6 years have passed since Raccoon City, and Leon has been recruited to become part of the President's Special Elite Task Force. Leon's been assigned to find the President's lost daughter, Ashley Graham, who has been kidnapped and held prisoner in a remote portion of rural Spain. Then, Leon investigates Ashley's whereabouts, but soon realizes that he's in a very similar situation back in
1998.
Turns out the whole remote village Leon went to investigate is filled to the brim of parasitically controlled villagers that want to kill Leon, as well as any other outsider that dares to venture inside their territory. Eventually, Leon is knocked out after meeting the big cheese of the village and injected with the Las Plagas, the parasite that infected everyone in the vicinity. Now, with his time ticking before the parasite takes over, Leon must save Ashley and remove the parasite from his body before it's too late. On his way, Leon will face off against the Yoko locals of the village and the Big Cheese, wreck the insane cultists in the castle overlooking the town, kill their leader, Salazar. Trust me, you will hate and love how much you hate him. And lastly, cut off the head of the entire operation residing in the military research facility, Sadler. All the while meeting new allies and old friends from previous Resident Evil titles. I am reviewing the port on the Nintendo Wii, which is the best port in my opinion. Graphically, this version on the Nintendo Wii is the same as on the GameCube, which means it still looked better than other titles on the system. RE4 still ran at 480p 30 frames a second, so there isn't much to say there. But for a game made back in 2007, it still holds up decently today. Characters look extremely realistic for the time, and animations were on a different level. Textures are a little rough, but the color palette switches up considerably. The village is gray and muddy, the castle has lots of beige, reds, and blues, and the research center has a mixture of the two. But the strongest asset of the Wii port is its controls. Originally, when aiming, Leon would have this thin laser sight that would indicate what you were facing. It was slow and clunky and made the game more frustrating than it honestly needed to be. With the Wiimote, your reticle can easily fly over the background and accurately shoot anything you see. You're not bound by a control stick sensitivity, but instead how well you can aim with your arm. Transitioning between menus and gameplay is smoother than ever when you need to switch between weapons, going from a handgun to a shotgun or tossing a grenade. It gives you, the player, an upper hand and skill in any horde scenario, and you run into several occasions across the entire game. You swing your Wiimote to slice boxes and barrels with Leon's knife. If you need to reload, you hold down B and shake your Wiimote to reload. Surprisingly, there are no motion control gimmicks that sour the experience, and the use of motion controls is necessary for quick-time events or in certain encounters with bosses. It's the best experience I've had with motion controls on the Wii and one of the best control schemes for any game. It's easy to pick up, and with enough time, you can master the tight controls, making you the most deadly zombie killer. Once you actually save Ashley, who's trapped inside the church, you have to make sure that she's not captured from any Ganados as you're going from point A to B in each chapter section. You have to look after her health, and make sure when you shoot a Ganado that's carrying her away, you don't accidentally hit her, which usually turns out to be a one-hit kill. This generally isn't too bad though, because in a lot of areas, you can have Ashley hide in a secure area. That way, no enemies can attack her and you can focus on the horde. Most people complain about this escort type mission in this game, but I don't think it's that bad since usually there's some way that Ashley can protect herself, and when areas get actually pretty tough, something will happen in the story that will cause Ashley to be taken away from you. You even get to play as Ashley in Salazar's castle. There you don't have any weapons, and Ashley is forced to use what's around her in order to take down a couple of the enemies around her. There, you need to focus on surviving against enemies that you can't fight against in order to get back to Leon. It really makes you appreciate when you go from Ashley back to Leon with all of his weapons and his health items. Resident Evil 4's gameplay scratches all the itches that I love. First, I am a big fan of item management. You will need to organize Leon's weapon case to ensure that all of Leon's weapons, ammo, grenades, and healing items so you can survive any encounter. And as a side note, I was obsessed throughout the game ensuring Leon's case looked like a work of art. Second, Resident Evil's progression system is still my favorite version to date, with Village in second place. The Merchant is a staple character in the series, and he only says a handful of lines. There's no backstory, there's no underlying connections to the other baddies in the game. He's just there flashing Leon, screaming,
What are you buying?
You can buy upgrades to both Leon's weapons and suitcase size. Not all the weapon upgrades are available at once, but are unlocked as you progress further into the story, which gives you another reason to keep pushing through the difficult and horrifying moments. Each weapon has an exclusive upgrade that stands it apart from the other counterparts, whether it's increasing its power beyond its threshold or auto-tracking explosive rounds. You know, it's just the simple things in life that make me happy. New weapons are unlocked as you progress through the game, and you can sell and swap old weapons for new ones. It's a consistent flow of rewards that keeps you engaged and satisfies you as you play the game, from the size of Leon's case to his health and your weapon stats. Beating the main story unlocks costumes and bonus weapons like the Infinite Launcher and Matilda, as well as several modes. This includes Separate Ways, Assignment Ada, playing the campaign on Pro Mode, and Mercenary Mode. Or you can start another round starting from the beginning with all your upgrades and weapons, turning the game into more of a playground weapons sandbox. Separate Ways follows Ada on her side of the story, playing missions in specific areas of the village, castle, and island. Not every mission reuses the same location Leon was in. Ada is given entirely new levels all to herself that were never meant for Leon, and you even have two entertaining boss fights. One with Krauser, where you battle on top of these towers and progress from rooftop to rooftop, and the other is with Sadler before his anthropomorphic glow-up. This mode separates itself from the main game by giving Ada some unique weapons of her own and removing the ability to upgrade weapons. This brings a twist to the difficulty level as Ada progresses throughout the story. Ada's more powerful in the first two missions in the village, but in the later levels the tables are turned as the enemies grow stronger and more formidable. It forces you to be a little quicker on your feet. It's a great time that fills in the blanks and is about another 5 hours of gameplay. Beating this unlocks the Chicago typewriter in the main mode. Assignment Ada is a mini-game mode on the research island. Ada must collect 5 samples of the Las Plagas virus with mid-level weapons she has in her case. There's no merchant to help you and no save points at any time. The Plaga samples must go in Ada's case, so there is a heavy emphasis on item management and ensuring that you have enough ammo, health, and grenades for enemies and Krauser, who is the final boss of this mode. If it's not planned out well enough, you might not be able to take on Krauser and beat Assignment Ada. If you are successful in Assignment Ada, you unlock the Chicago typewriter for Separate Ways. If you want an additional challenge, you can play all over again on Pro Mode. This increases the number of enemies in certain areas and grants enemies more health, and Leon takes on more damage. When you beat Pro Mode, you unlock the PRL-412, a laser beam that insta-kills everything in Leon's sight. To be honest though, I'm more of an infinite launcher man myself. Makes me feel like they have a fighting chance, you know? And lastly, there is Mercenary Mode. You play on 4 different arenas, 3 from the main game, and 1 entirely new map. The goal is to kill as many Ganados and area mini-bosses in a row before the time runs out. Every 4 stars earned unlocks a new playable character that has a different loadout, health stats, and playstyle, which is the best part. I love that you can play as Krauser and Wesker. Both have the best loadouts and you feel like a total tank. If you need to relax, just play as Krauser and have a ball. You get not only his tactical bow, but his killer arm as well. If you get 5 stars on every map with each character, the hand cannon is unlocked. A badass 50 caliber magnum that when fully upgraded has infinite ammo. It feels powerful, sounds menacing, and I just love the impact it has when knocking back your enemies. Resident Evil 4 has everything that I love in a video game. You have unlockables, treasure hunting, weapon upgrades, bonus modes, and extra features that incentivize you to replay this title over and over again. This must have been at least my 20th time playing through this port, and I even made sure to 100% complete this game just for this review. It's clear that with modern games, DLC and updates have become the normalized method to either bring back their player base or keep their players from leaving. Resident Evil 4 just goes against this trope since it came out as a complete package that entertains me to this day. I wouldn't say I have a childhood nostalgia for this game because I never stopped playing Resident Evil 4, so I'm not viewing this through a warped window. Resident Evil Village may have replicated what I felt when I picked up my Wiimote and Nunchuck when I was 12 years old, but I still have that same excitement whenever I hear my Wii channel playing
Resident Evil 4.
And clearly, it's not going away anytime soon. So, with all of that in mind, I'm going to be giving Resident Evil 4 on the Nintendo Wii a 10 out of 10. If you stuck around to the end of this video, thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to keep up with my content, and stay tuned for next week's video for my Halloween themed game reviews and videos. I have lots of past content for you to check out if you're hungry for more. My name is BirKey, and see what is in my corner next time.